Gente, boa tarde, boa tarde, boa tarde. I'll be back. Estou de volta. Algumas pequenas mudanças. Tá funcionando bem. Mudamos a câmera, mudamos o layout, mudamos tudo. Por isso que eu dei uma subida, gente. É isso, gente. Bora. Bora começar o joguinho. Joguinho diferente, indicado. Falo muito bem desse jogo. The Stanley Parábola. Não sei do que é. Não sei. Então, vamos só jogar. Falaram que era rápido, mas eu tenho minhas dúvidas que na minha mão vai demorar mais. Configurações do jogo, acho que tá ok, né? Tem muito que citar desse jogo. Espero que vocês estejam bem, espero que tenham tido uma semana incrível. Vamos para o jogo, né? Vídeo naquele áudio sempre. Eu acho que tá em português Brasil, não tenho certeza. Espero que sim. Tamo café aqui. Peraí. Ai. Nossa, e segunda-feira retornamos com The Last of Us, hein? Só pra deixar claro. Tentar agora manter direto as lives sem falta. Agora vai dar, eu acho.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Ok. Deixa eu ver.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi.
Eita, vamos lá, começar o jogo. Somos Stanley. Não sei o que eu tenho que fazer. Paciência tá maravilhosa. O que eu faço aqui? Tô digitando. Poxa. Alô? Agacho. Por algum motivo tô agachando. Vamos lá. O que tem que fazer? Mostra os objetivos.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sala de... Eu tenho que seguir.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Cara, deixa eu procurar, mano. Tu nem sabe. Essa de... Onde é que é a sala de reunião? Não é aqui? Com certeza que é a Copa. Aqui? Aqui? Aqui, ó, sala de reunião, ó. Não.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Eu tenho que seguir o que ele faz? Ou eu posso seguir a minha calma? Caramba. Eu vou pela direita. Pela direita.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well.
Cara,
Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
lógico. Cara chato, não deixa eu fazer nada. Entendi, deixa eu ver. Gente, o controle tá fungando esse controle, caralho.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Entendi desse jogo indo pra aqui. Meu Deus, o analógico tá muito nesse controle. Deixa eu trocar de novo. Era mesmo? Esquerda. Aqui.
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Eu não entendi. Eu vou reto. Eu não entendi. Você falou muito rápido, cara. Entendi, eu não consegui compreender você. Não era pra vir aqui. Deixa eu achar que eu sou teimoso. Era pra ir reto. Cara que me indicou esse jogo. Eu queria estar abusando na hora.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Tem pra esquerda pra ir, não pode ir pra direita, né? Aqui. Dá pra ir pra esquerda. Eu vim dali, então...
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Pode se tomar no cu, cara. Pelo amor de Deus.
No,
Vai se
not
fuder,
the right.
cara.
Why would I have ever said it was to the right?
Porra.
What was I thinking?
Onde
It's
que eu
clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Lógico. Tomar um café aqui. Foda-se.
Now, let's see. We went down
Só tem
right,
duas portas
left,
aqui.
down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Porra. Caralho, mano. Um bando de otário, irmão. Vou pegar esse carrão aqui. Que isso, bro? Porra, hein? Nossa senhora, que dor na vista.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler.
Big
Quick,
brother.
Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back
Tô vendo
to,
nada, tô vendo nada. Vambora, tô vendo
Who
nada.
am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story
Don't
completely
fight
unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning.
Now.
And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Porra, eu não pude pegar o bagulho, mano. Ah, velho, na moral. Voltamos tudo de... Se fuder, na moral. Lá no cu.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Sala de reunião. Cara, na moral, eu tenho as opções de ir, não posso ter a opção que eu quero, mano. Tá, vai ter a esquerda e direita. Eu vou pra direita, ver o que ele vai... Não, vou pra onde ele falar que é pra mim.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors?
No.
Did you move the story somewhere or...
No.
Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story.
Você que me
It
encaminhou.
was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Porra, agora tem mais opção, cara. Queria ir aqui. Eu não pulo. Pulo. Caralho, velho. Olha um tanto de porta. Deixa eu ver aqui, dá pra ver. Cara, eu vou pegar essa daqui, ó. Diferente, né? É a mesma? É a mesma? É a mesma aqui. Aqui é a mesma. Aqui. A porta vai estar aberta mesmo?
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
Não. Deixa eu
Well, I
aqui.
find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again.
Deixa eu aqui.
But it's got to be better than this.
Eu volto,
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
Caralho, você não deixa eu jogar, cara. Deixa eu jogar. Meu Deus, por isso que o Stanley não tá trabalhando. Vai mudar tudo agora esse cacete.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Que isso, meu amigo? Olha lá, mudou tudo agora esse caralho.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Cara, você é o quê? Você é Deus nesse jogo? Eu não posso entrar em lugar nenhum, cacete. O cara que indicou esse jogo tem um grande usuário de drogas. Olha isso, não consigo entrar em lugar nenhum. Bugou não. Meu Deus, o jogo bugou.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something.
Quadro?
The story. Here it comes.
Ah, mas de otário, né, irmão? Ué? Não tinha isso aqui, não.
No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
Eu fiz isso, cara. Eu refiz os meus passos. Porra. Que isso, cara? Parece os meus sonhos que não teriam sentido. Porra, eu sonho tá um porco voando. Olha isso, que loucura.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley?
Eu não lembro, cara.
Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no. No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win.
No.
Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Feito isso 3 vezes já, porra. Toma um café já. Agora tem uma linha pra seguir.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Eu pensei do início, seu porra. Esse é o mesmo caminho que eu fiz a última vez, quer ver? Olha lá, não tinha esse caminho aqui, não tinha esse caminho. O que é isso aqui? Eu me jogando paciência aqui. Hora de trabalho. Não, dá e-mail. Aham. Isso. Pronto, aí enviar. Não tinha vindo pra cá ainda. Não tinha vindo. Papel. Tudo com barulho de teclado.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Tá, como é que tira a foto disso? Esse aqui é samambaia, né? É isso, né, gente? Samambaia? Não? É esse aqui. Cara, que jogo doente, cara. Eu vi a samambaia. Não tô entendendo nada. Tô seguindo uma linha amarela que por algum motivo tem até o cacete. Olha lá.
Wait, what? We're back at the office?
Pô, não é possível. Não é possível.
No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Cara, eu dei uma volta no bagulho, irmão. Pera aí. Pera aí. Eu tenho que seguir essa linha, né? Essa aqui, ó. Pra aqui. Aí.
Oh, no, not again.
Não é
Line, how could you have done this
Esse
to
Big
us?
Brother tá com
And after
problema.
we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you...
Eu não,
I
você.
can't take this anymore. To
Você.
hell with it.
Seu incompetente.
Restart.
Ah lá. Ele erra. Eu sigo o que ele fala pra me fazer. E tem que voltar pro jogo tudo de novo. Olha que jogo doente, cara. De novo a linha. Eu não vou seguir essa porra tudo de novo, não. Vou cortar caminho no meio do jogo. Quero nem saber.
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Que direção, príncipe? Que direção? Aqui? Caralho, irmão. Na moral, se eu te encontrar, eu vou dar um soco na tua boca. Aqui. Cara, tudo me leva à sala das
Now,
câmeras.
yes, this is exciting. Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be?
Quero que acabe.
Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
Eu e você no ringue, vou dar um soco na tua boca, seu porra. Fazendo de otário, cara. Tô andando num loop infinito de paredes amarelas aqui.
Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Eu vou seguir aqui. Foda-se. Não tô entendendo esse jogo maluco. Cara, o cara me indicou e falou, o jogo é muito da hora. Da hora no quê? No que é da hora esse jogo? Esse cara usou algum tipo de droga, não é possível. Não é possível. Como é que eu vou subir essa porra agora? Cara, eu tenho alguma coisa pra me resolver, eu sou muito burro. Opa, chegou.
Ah, a choice.
Ok.
We get
ok.
to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control.
É isso.
How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Não é possível.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that
Fica mais
somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Por que você fez um círculo? Narrador, voz da consciência. Você acha que eu sou algum imbecil? Nossa, mano, juro. Vou dar um tapa na tua boca, irmão. Ele pensa, tá? Cara, ganhamos? Zeramos? Zeramos?
Oh, hold up, what's this?
Porra é essa?
The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending?
Já?
And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times?
Oi? Não.
That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Caralho, irmão, para com
Well,
isso.
what if I
pelo
don't
amor
want
de
to
Deus.
forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me?
Eu fiz isso?
Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really... No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Eu não vou fazer isso também, não.
And the timer stopped?
Zerando?
Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle?
Eu quebrei o ciclo.
Whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen?
Irmão, tá bem? Tá usando
okay.
Por que eu fiz isso, não foi?
I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story. Wouldn't you agree?
Não é uma
I'm
história.
not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey.
Foi o que eu
Though they're
fiz.
always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually.
Não entendi.
Well, in the meantime, if you...
Ah, não iniciou de novo esse jogo, né? Esse jogo do caralho. Caralho, irmão, que jogo maluco. O cara, você que me indicou esse jogo. Vamos marcar o médico? Vamos, eu te levo, eu te acompanho. Não tem problema, meu irmão. Sou teu amigo, quero o seu bem. Cara, não tem sentido. Zeramos o jogo? Não, não zeramos o jogo. Claro que não. Vamos mandar um e-mail te reclamando. Esse jogo é muito confuso para a minha cabeça. Fiquei menos 10 de que... Por favor, facilite. Enviar. Pô, mas tava lá que eu zerei o jogo. Tava?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
E essa mambaia que ele pediu pra me olhar?
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Vou ter que achar essa mambaia. Cara, que jogo maluco, cara. Que jogo de louco. Mambaia. Umas mambaia. Ah, derrubaram o café aqui. Vamos, coitado. Vou ter que limpar essa porra. Cara, eu vou seguir a cal. Eu vou pela esquerda.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Eu vou pela esquerda. Fui fazer o caminho que ele falou e eu fiz cagada, né? Qual seria o jogo aquela vez? Eu tô confuso. Sala de reunião, cheguei.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Cara, não tô entendendo nada. Não sei se eu zerei o jogo na primeira gameplay. Tô desligando o bagulho. Eu não entendi. O que é isso? Monetizar. Jogar aí. Pô, um jogo maluco, caralho. Opa, que isso? Tem que vir aqui? Subir. Opa, subir.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Tá bom. Cara, ele adivinha tudo que eu vou fazer. Como é que pode um jogo desse? Como é que pode, né?
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Tá vermelho aqui, eu vou descer. Tá vermelho, não vou subir não. Isso. Consigo pegar? Consigo interagir.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange, this can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming! He yelled.
Caralho!
This is all a
Porra!
dream.
Jogo do caralho.
What a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground.
Nossa, velho, tô usando LSD,
Then
não é
he
possível.
imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking?
Quem é você?
Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself? Believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself?
Você não sonha.
Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself.
Eu vou voltar pro meu escritório.
I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am
Eu
normal.
sou normal.
Everything will
Só
be
não vai na minha
fine.
cabeça.
I am okay.
O Stanley tá bem. Eu tô bem, eu sou o Stanley. Porra, voltei pro mesmo lugar. Eu não tô dormindo. Que isso?
Stanley began
Eu não vou
screaming.
gritar.
Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
Cara, na moral, o cara que fez esse jogo tá...
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
Hã? Não era Stanley?
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work.
É eu aqui,
But
ó.
on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy, this much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Tá. Aí, não, o jogo não acabou. Eu morri. Eu não entendi porra nenhuma desse jogo. Eu não entendi nada desse jogo. Deve ter uma caralhada de finais esse jogo aqui. Gente, vocês entenderam? Não entendi nada. Meu Deus, eu votei por isso. Tô ficando maluco, cara. Ah, gente. Tô ficando maluco, sério.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Só vou reto. Só vou reto. Primeiro final foi mais legal. Tinha mais opções, eu vou pra direita.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Fiz dois finais. Um eu morri e o outro eu fiquei confuso. Vou tentar fazer um terceiro aqui.
Wow. Yes. This room.
Eu acho que é isso.
What a beautiful room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his
Eu não
left.
entrei aqui. A última vez eu fui reto. Não! A última vez, a primeira vez, eu acho que eu entrei aqui, não foi? Eu entrei aqui e desci. Se eu for. Que isso?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Que isso, irmão? Me respeita, funcionário exemplar. Aí, tamo diferente. Warning, do not jump from the cargo. Lift while it's in motion. In case death. Cara, 1000 pilas. Meu Deus, 5.000 pilas.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her.
Podia ter morrido aqui também pra esse outro final, né? Eu sou
This is
contra
it,
o final, tá,
Stanley.
gente?
Your chance to redeem yourself.
Sim.
To put your work aside. To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Quem tá me... Mariela? Tem uma porta, tem como falar que eu sou teimoso. Quem tá fechando essas portas? Esse caralho desse moleque. Ó, tudo escuro. Ai, que susto da porra.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this. To reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Não quero. Não atendi? Não queria. O jogo vai voltar de novo, quer ver? É um jogo do caralho esse, viu? Não tô entendendo nada, cara. Muito confuso, tá maluco. Tô de óculos, ó. Estileira.
Oh, Stanley, is that you?
Hey.
Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Que isso, mano?
Gotcha! Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife?
Ele tá
They want to
morto, né?
commit their life to you. I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something.
O quê?
Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on
Por
here.
favor, me mostra, tô ficando confuso. Eu não sei se eu te sigo ou se eu vou reto. Vou por aqui. Oi, é você?
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named
Meu Deus, eu
Stanley.
morri mesmo.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Pressionando pra
Look at him
cima.
there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to
Caralho,
do.
meu namorado vai
Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Tá pegando de otário. Eu não vou apertar porra nenhuma. Não vou apertar. Me recuso a apertar essa porra. Mas se eu não aperto, não acontece nada. Ah, eu aperto, eu vou falar graça.
But in his mind, In his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures.
Olha só, que caralho
From
de
behind
jogo.
his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him.
TV, onde é que tá a TV? Não tem um TV aqui. Ah, tem.
And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
Porra, e agora? Não, eu não quero voltar pro trabalho. Eu não sei se eu aperto. Ah, esse cara tá mexendo com a minha cabeça. Ele acha que manda em mim, mas ele não manda. Mas eu não quero fazer o que ele disse pra mim não fazer, pra falar que eu não mando nele, em mim. Entendeu? E agora? Vou esperar um minuto. Agonia. Se não apertar o zero... Minuto. Tem como ajustar. Vou esperar um minuto. Ó, o jogo me obriga a apertar. Vocês estão vendo? O jogo me obriga. Logo ele tá mandando em mim. Eu vou apertar e ele vai falar graça, quer ver? Tá vendo? Ó.
You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself?
Poxa, vai me entregar.
I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again. And Stanley pushed a button.
Por favor, morra.
And I tried
Como é que eu
again.
morro nesse jogo do
And
caralho?
Stanley pushed a button.
Mandar um e-mail?
And I tried.
Morri. Ah, velho, na moral. Eu não aguento esse jogo, é maluco. É jogo doente, cara. Se voltar do início, eu vou encerrar esse jogo. Jogo do caralho. Na moral. Ah, se fuder. Jogo louco, maluco. Na moral.